Yo, what is up guys? This is Young Tactician coming at you with another video. This is 5 common mistakes Poppy players make. If you don't make any of these mistakes, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. But this is a mistake I see beginner Poppy players make, or even experienced ones. So I'm gonna go dive straight into it, starting with her passive. After using your passive, you should always be looking to pick it up. I see a lot of you guys, you use your passive and you just let it sit there, or you let the enemy walk on it. Your first priority when you're trading with an enemy champion is to pick up your passive immediately after using it on them. So, after, you're, just generally farming with the wave or whatnot. So you just gotta wait for a passive to come back up. After, you're generally farming or whatnot, after you use your passive on the enemy, you wanna look to pick it up immediately because that enemy is gonna look to trade back onto you. It's just the way trading patterns works. And then on top of that, you also get a stack of shield bash, which is really nice. So even when you're not laning in the middle of the team fight, you should be looking to pick up your passive, especially if you're front lining for your team. While you're clearing jungle camps, it also applies to the jungle, obviously, to pick up your passive. It makes a difference between the good and the great Poppy players, or in this case, the bad and the good ones. All right, my second thing that I see Poppy players do is not holding on to their E. So I'll demonstrate an example here. Like, see if this is Graves. If you E him right now, it's a really bad E to take, but a lot of Poppy players will take this E because it serves as a gap closer, but you can't actually really do much to follow up. In this case, if you're Eing onto Graves, if he's running something like Phase Rush or something, he'll just kite you after Q autoing you once, and there's nothing much you can really do. If he's a good player, he holds on to his E because you don't use your W, etc., etc. But the way you want to use your E is use it to stun the targets 90% of the time, and then 5% of the time is to disengage, and the other 5% is to to engage onto a target. So you want to be holding onto your E, making sure you actually have a stun angle before using it to maximize how much damage you could put out, maximize CC, and just maybe allow a teammate to follow up because your target is now crowd controlled, so they could catch up in time if they're rotating from the river or something. So once again, it's even useful in lane. So say I'm in between their tier 1 and tier 2 towers here, and I'm getting ganked or whatever. Boom, I notice I'm getting ganked on the ward. Just E onto the minion and disengage, run away. So a lot of times people just don't make proper usage of Poppy's E ability. And moving on to the next mistake, we're going to be talking about W usage. So a lot of people, what they do after landing a stun is immediately W, and this can work, but it's the incorrect way to use your W. What you want to do is, say if this is Kha'Zix, you E him, you wait for him to use his jump animation, and then you W. And this is what the skill expression with Poppy comes from, because W is actually a reaction. It's an ability meant to use on reaction and not preemptively. You could use your W preemptively if 100% the target's gonna die. If they have to use their dash as the only way to escape, then it's fine. But besides that, you should be using it reactionary because there's no cast time on the ability. And a lot of these abilities where the champion has to dash away or whatever, there's a cast time. So you are always in the advantage as long as you're within their range, right? I think Wing is fine, it's safe. They're over here, they're looking to dash away. You can flash W as well, but you want to be using your W after you see them cast their ability dash to dash away, rather than you E and then you immediately W. Because if you're facing a good player, which you eventually will be if you're improving at the game, once you get past, platinum elo, eventually people, if you use your E and then W instantly, your targets will just wait out your W duration like that, and then they will just jump away. So this is really bad usage of your W. Stop doing that. Get into the habit of reacting to their dashes rather than preemptively casting your W. One of the worst things you could do on Poppy. Number 4 is only using your ultimates in the one shot combo. This is really bad, especially in a team fight. In a team fight, you want to be charging up your ultimate and trying to knock away a target away from the fight to turn it 4 versus 5, or even turn it 5 versus 3. So let's set up a scenario. I know the enemy is stacked like this. we have one person on stun target right here. We have one person on the stun target. Let's see. And then we have our allies that are all standing over here, right? And then, I don't know, for whatever reason, you're positioned here for the flank. What you can do is you could just ult away, boom, 2 targets. The team fight is now 4 versus 2. You just run these guys down, right? Realistically, I would have probably stunned this guy and then queued like this. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, the power of being able to charge up your ultimate before a team fight is really the difference between a good and a bad Poppy player. Like, a bad Poppy player will just always one tap or combo like this, which is like fine in a lot of cases. But in team fight environments, like if you ult away like 2 people like I just did there, chances are you just win the game off that alone, like this late into the game. All right, so my last tip is going back to Poppy's passive, is actually timing her passive with Grasp of the Undying. A lot of people just throw out their passive like this onto enemy champion instead of rather charging it up. So now I have my Grasp up. I want to keep it up so I'll auto attack a minion in between it, and then boom, you use your Grasp passive rather than just you using your passive. You can also do things like Q to keep your passive, or the Grasp up and then passive. Or if the minions are focusing you, it's not necessarily a bad thing as you're keeping your Grasp timing up. So you want to just get into the habit of always trying to throw out your passive on the enemy champion with Grasp, because it makes for huge damage. And every time you proc Grasp, a lot of people don't know this, every time you proc Grasp, your maximum health goes up by 5. And you heal yourself, obviously you sustain yourself, people know that usually. But say I use this Grasp 11 times, that's 55 more HP that I have. So if you do this over the duration of a game, you could probably build yourself like a Ruby Crystal just by constantly applying Grasp with your passive at the correct times. All right guys, but that was my 5 common Poppy mistakes. Let me know down below if you guys do any of these mistakes, if you're working to correct them. If you don't and you had no idea you were doing them, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.
I keep on shattering time. I might just leave you behind. Homie, you stuck on rewind. You should quit sleeping on mine. You got your back on reclined. When I damage your delicate spine, please don't act out, shy and surprise. They be like,